Well, anytime there's change, it's different, obviously. So, the one thing I'll say is Rob is a friend and someone that I've had a long relationship with, and great person, great father, great coach. So that puts a challenge to it. But at the same time, when coach makes a decision, it's for the best of the program, and you get a new responsibility. You got to do it to the best of your ability. So the guys on the defensive staff and everyone involved are having some situations and different responsibilities, but they're doing an elite job with it.
Certainly is not the way you would choose for it to happen, but do you see this as possibly an opportunity?
I'm not looking at it other than leave it better than I found it. So coach has asked me to step in. We're going to do it to the best of our ability, and whatever happens, happens. If we can get better every week for the last 3 weeks of the season and use that as kind of a springboard to whatever happens after those 3 weeks, I think it'll be a success.
What was your reaction whenever Coach Fleck asked you to take over these defensive coordinator duties?
Well, it was twofold. It was one, it was disappointment because a friend, was no longer going to be here. But two, it was a positive from the standpoint that he believed that I could help us get better. So it was something that was nice to hear.
I don't want to say missing. What do you think can be done differently? I know it's tough to 1 week in to
Sure.
make sea changes, but what can be different?
Well, here's what I think. First and foremost, you just kind of hinted at it. It's tough. We've been through the spring, we've been through the summer, we've been through 7, 8 games, and now we're not going to be able to make changes other than minor changes. There will be a few wrinkles here and there, but let's be honest, that can't happen in 1, 2 days. I think sometimes when there's a different voice, that sometimes that can be positive for the people in the room. I think the main thing can maybe be some of the mental focus in terms of just hearing that voice, and then just some energy in increasing the energy and physicality of practice, which is something that we've looked to do the last 2 days.
You've entered this situation before. How do you kind of approach going from being a position coach to having a little bit more responsibility?
Well, I have, and the last time was a little different because it was in a situation coming into a bowl game. But I think just for me personally, I can tell you this, I've been a coordinator before 3 different times at 3 different levels. So that's something that it's not new to me, okay? So that's something that, hey, you kind of flip the switch and you go on. Now, it is a little bit different because you're moving positions and you're sliding around, and it's kind of happening midstream, and this is a little bit different than different situations in the past, but there is a familiarity with it.
What was your message to the team when you took over?
Look, we can't worry about what happened in the past, and all we can do is look to get better over the next 3 weeks. I told them exactly what I just said a little bit ago, that, hey, at the end of this thing, we just want to leave it better than we found it and use it as springboard moving into the next phase.
Talk about tweaking things on defense. How do you do that to eliminate big plays?
Well, I think, number one, it starts with everyone understanding what their role is and what they need to do. Number two, we've got to be better in the run game in terms of setting edges. Sometimes a missed tackle is because it's a missed tackle. Sometimes it's a missed tackle because it happens in too much space. So in order to help the guys who have to make the space tackles, you got to eliminate the space by doing a better job setting edges. That was a real point of emphasis yesterday. We've done drills on it. We did another drill on it today. Listen, are we going to go from 0 to 60 in 2 days? No. But again, if we can just look to get a little bit better, and help our guys in the back end, I think it'll make a big difference for us.
Who were the biggest coaching influences in your life?
Well, I would say, my high school coach, and I think anyone would say that, but then also my first defensive coordinator in college, Jack Leipheimer, who was my first boss that I worked for and learned a lot from him. And me and Rob, we influence each other in terms of, because we've been buddies and friends. But the biggest guys were my youth coach, my high school coach, a guy I worked for as a Division III coach. I came up a little different than some people, and I think it's a positive. Where I was 6 years as a Division III player, I was 6 years as a Division III coach, and just clawing and scratching and trying to make the jump. And eventually, it was able to happen. So all those experiences are things that I look back on fondly, and I think have helped me grow. So.
Coach talked about maybe being a little bit different in a play caller. How would you describe yourself in that role?
Well, here's what I would say. Overall, there's a personality that I have when I've been it from the beginning, right? Okay, because you've kind of set the stage, you've charted the course, you've had the things in line that you feel and know and comfortable. But then there's this situation, which is a different situation. So will it be the same? No, because I'm not the same person. But you also got to understand that the course has already been set. And to be able to come in and say, hey, I want to do it this way, that's silliness, because that's being selfish as a coach and not necessarily taking into account the players and how they handle things. So that it's got to be, it's different because it's a different guy doing it, but it's also going to be within the confines of what we've already done, because the time isn't there for some of the other things. So.
You guys have one more?
what have you seen out of Purdue's offense, and how do you stop that passing game? Yeah.
They're good. They're throwing the ball well. They've got legit receivers. They have 2-3 guys that are really, really good players. I think the biggest thing is that they are a team that excels on the big play. And whether that's a big play in the run, whether that's a big play in the pass, and so force them to drive the length of the field. So that would be the key, being able to keep the ball in front, hold them to field goals, but they're a very talented team.